Hello everyone and welcome to Thesis on Cardano. In today's episode, my guest is founder of Vibrant Bot and Reach Your People newly built app. You might know him by his Twitter name Nils Codes or just Nils maybe. And I cannot recommend enough that you listen to everything that he has to say. He will explain in detail all about his products, why he built them, how he built them, and what he plans to do with them in the future. I suggest you go check out his proposals in current Catalyst F13 and yeah, enjoy the convo.
Well, good. Yeah, I invited you today to basically, go over everything, see what's up, what's happening. I know I follow a bit what you are posting and what you're doing, and always love it a lot, all your efforts. So I think everyone should hear from you a bit more often, I guess, and
I
everything.
wish I wish I could. Like this is really I'm not really good at taking the time to market, right? I know I can do it and I can convey the message that all works, but it's like taking the time. It's not you know this probably better than most. It's really taking a lot of effort. I saw earlier in your Discord too, you're very engaged with the community, and like I measure like my temperature check on like how engaged communities are is always like when you make announcements, how many reactions do you get? And I went to the Thesis announcement channel, and I was like, wow, that's really something. It got some good core community going on there. While when I post something like 3 days later, maybe there's a thumbs up, and that's just because I don't do it regularly.
Well, I wouldn't say that it's like the perfect situation. It's been a long time since we, had some happenings in our Discord. So at the moment we are kind of waking up a bit with the new research that we are doing. So people are coming back a bit and now filling out the survey which we just posted. So yeah, there is some movement, and I mean we've been active for the whole period of trying to get the Catalyst funds and everything. And I think, as you said, yeah, we have the core community still being here with us, and that's something we appreciate a lot. So yeah, uh, but yeah, I was just checking your Twitter, and as you said, it's hard to find time to post something. You have each month maybe one post or something like that, and but
Yeah.
explaining some important stuff. So that's why I said I think we should all hear from you a bit more. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to speak a bit about your proposal in this round. I think there's only one, right?
hmm That's
Yeah,
correct.
and about your de-repping and like de-rep experience, thoughts, governance a bit. Essentially, you are de-rep, and that must mean that you are pretty involved, or at least understand stuff more than the regular folks here in Cardano. And maybe a little bit about your cats again.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. I don't have any to like hold up or showcase today. Because we don't have any fosters. Actually, just before this, I was cleaning up our foster room, which you have to do like a deep cleaning every time you have like you complete your previous group. So that was what I was doing before coming down here. So it is a little bit topical.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have my cat is here in my lap uh, every time I'm sitting
Ah,
sitting
yep.
on this desk. Yeah, he comes and that's it. That's it. But okay, I feel warm inside.
Yeah, that's
Well,
good. Let's have a cat blanket.
yeah. Uh, so reach your people is I would say pretty much in almost functional phase,
Yep,
or we,
that's
we could we could tell it like that. So can you tell us a bit more about your beautiful product, Reach Your People?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Reach Your People was a prototype that was happily funded through the community support in Fund 10. And essentially, the original goal was just to create kind of a framework for Cardano for people to be getting news where they need them. Like back when this all started, Cardano started, and a lot of people were on Twitter, and it was okay. You reached most of the community there. Then the NFT craze happened, and people started going into Discord, and you had like a little bit of fragmentation. Now people were in Discord and here. A lot of individual groups were in Telegram, and one of the things that I always thought is I don't think we're going to be able to bring all of these people onto one platform. I know we have a variety of like social fi platforms that attempted or are still attempting to kind of attract the Cardano community. But my thoughts were always, why not reach them where they're at, right? So if you prefer Discord, then you should be informed in Discord. And if you're preferring Twitter or an email or a text message even, then that. And the RYP prototype back then that was developed the first half of 2023, essentially, was a prototype that allowed us to do exactly that. So projects could go to RYP. So currently you still have to like manually go and publish there, which means additional work for projects. And that's one of the goals we have for the Fund 13 proposal to simplify that. But you would go there, you would publish your announcement, whatever it may be. And this could be for token-based projects. So if you have an NFT or you have a fungible token, you would go there and everybody who has this token in their wallet and they have registered with RYP, they would get your announcement to whatever messaging service they choose. So you would get it in Telegram if that's your preferred way, or if you want like a text notification on your phone that says, hey, this project announced something, you would be able to do that, and you would remain anonymous, as much as you are when you have your wallet out there. But the project itself doesn't know who they're sending to. They couldn't necessarily tell. And the same thing over time, like originally the prototype was really just that. It was, let's showcase this works. Let's build some integrations. So I think back then we decided we're going to do Discord. We're going to do email and text message. We wanted like a variety of 3 distinctly different solutions that we could showcase actually work. Because again, we're talking about like adopting and bringing on board all the people and not just the people that are already deep into the ecosystem, right? For them, like they're fine in Twitter and Discord, but that's not the average person. They don't want to go that deep down the rabbit hole. And so that was the prototype. And as we were building the prototype, quickly realized, well, we're going to need to make it a little bit better looking. Like if we want to onboard people, because we have this chicken and egg problem. The chicken and egg problem is if you don't have projects publishing, then people don't have a reason to go there because they will not get any news. And if you don't bring on board people, then what is the purpose as a project to publish? Who are you publishing to? You don't have an audience. And so that was one of the biggest challenges. And so instead of just doing the prototype, making like a very basic website, we went ahead and we built a pretty good website compared to what was asked so that we can bring on board people, and created incentive mechanisms. We created like achievements and all that kind of stuff to get people interested in the product. And that's essentially what we were able to do. However, we still had like just very little contribution from basic projects. So now projects could go in, NMaker, for example, could go in, they could publish an announcement, and everybody who has NMaker tokens in their wallet, they would get that. Thesis could go in, and everybody who has the NFT, or if you have multiple NFT collections, any collection, they could get that. And obviously, we even built stuff or prepared things that are similar to what you can do with these NFT kind of gating bots, of which I know a pretty good one, but where you say like, hey, I want specific collections or specific NFTs to be reached. So for example, you could say everybody who holds more than 5 NFTs gets an announcement about maybe a raffle that's going on, but it's only for people who have like a certain amount of NFTs. That's how it all started. I could go on because there's a fun story after that, but
please do.
Okay. So essentially we did that, but really getting to token-based projects, especially in this time of the market where NFTs were really kind of in a slump and still are. And the token-based projects, they're also coming and going a lot. So really a challenge for us was to get engagement for the product so that people come and use it. We did some giveaways, and that's all fine and well. But as we were kind of talking to people, we found out there's a need to fulfill that I don't have to worry about. I run a stake pool. I stake to my own stake pool, so I never have to worry about it. But we've heard from other people Especially there was like Emergo was doing like moving their stake pools around, and a couple of larger stake pools actually retired. And a lot of people were complaining that the stake doesn't move anywhere; it remains there. So if you don't know what staking on Cardano is, I would highly suggest you Google it. But if you have a wallet on Cardano, you should have it staked to a stake pool because that'll give you rewards. And when a stake pool retires, these rewards stop. You don't get rewards anymore. And a lot of people, because they're not every day in Cardano, right? They're not like us. That's not their primary thing. It's just they hold some ADA, maybe they've engaged with a project, but they're not looking at it every day. And so we built into RYP the ability to get notified about activity that has to do with your stake pool. So now if your stake pool retires and you have an RYP account, you will get whatever you choose as your notification mechanism. And it'll tell you, like I could dig, but it probably takes me 5 years to scroll. You could get a text message that says, hey, your stake pool retired. It's time to redelegate. And so that was our attempt to build something that can bring in people and create value without having to have projects, because that is always valuable. If the stake pool announces it or not, it's not something that somebody has to go and manually do, but it's just something that happens on chain. And that was the first kind of aha moment for me personally as to how can we solve this chicken and egg problem. Let's create some value that brings on people. And then when people are there, now we can explain how the value is there, because now you can publish to 500 people. Now you can publish to 1,000 people. And that would allow us this. And at that time, guess what happened? Governance came along. So that was kind of, and this was all post the prototype. The prototype was done. That prototype was really about token-based projects only. But because we didn't get funding in fund, we didn't apply in Fund 11 because we were still in the middle of what we're doing. And in Fund 12, we didn't get funded. So I was like, well, I'm going to still keep building that. That's what I did with Vibrant, our Discord solution. Like it never got funded. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm still going to do it. And that was governance came along. And it was another one of those opportunities. We're just checking it out and people want to get involved, but they really don't know how. And so I'm not actively derepping. I registered the second derep on mainnet just because I wanted to kind of do that. And I have a derep account. I'm not derepping on mainnet, however, because I do think these roles should be separated. And I'm already a stake pool operator. So that was more of a proof of concept. But to be able to do all that, I had to work with, okay, how does these concepts work? I did a lot of research on the constitutional documentation and the governance documentation, CIP 1694, to see, okay, how does it all work? And then folks in the Able Pool Discord, Mike Hornan and like a couple of people over there, they were also super helpful. They created documentation around, how does voting work? What are the thresholds and all the complexities. And one of the things I thought is we can simplify that. We can make it so that you don't have to know all that, but it's that, again, you can use RYP for that information to come to you. And it works the same way that we had built this prototype for stake pools. If your DREP does something, you get notified. If an on-chain proposal is made, you can get notified. You don't have to, like you can opt in, but the default is on because we want people to participate in on-chain governance. So we want people to know what's going on. They may not be able to do something other than tell their DREP, hey, I think you should vote this way, or can you tell us why you would support this proposal? But to get that engagement, they have to know. And I know as a personal experience, I barely know what's going on in my local government, because you have to go there and follow certain channels too. And most of the time when I know something's going on voting wise is if information gets pushed out. You get a flyer in your mailbox maybe, or maybe you walk around and there's a sign that tells you, hey, vote for this measure, whatever. And I feel if I had more ability to get this information directly, I think I would be more engaged. And I do think the decentralized communities suffer from this very widely, where we always hear, I didn't know this was going on. Nobody ever says, well, I knew this was going on and it was interesting to me, but I just, don't care. Most of the time it's, I didn't have the time or I didn't know in time, oftentimes,
Yeah.
or I didn't know this is happening at all. And
Yeah.
to break down that, we essentially said we can build all this governance stuff into RYP2. Again, nobody has to do anything. DREPs can now publish, so they can engage with their stakeholders and with their constituency. They can say, like, here's our stance on this matter, and everybody who has delegated to them can be informed. Or you can even subscribe to them. Let's say I've subscribed to almost all the DREPs that are on RYP because I'm interested in what's going on. So that way I can hear who's voting what's their plans, and when then somebody votes, I get a notification as well. And that's really allowed us to create a little bit of interest on the user side. And I think one of the goals for the next phases are to now get additional project value in there so that they can do stuff to simplify it for them.
Yeah. Well, basically, would you say that even if you haven't thought about it before, like the governance part kicking into a project, basically it seems like a perfect match also for that, I would say. And I recently just tweeted also about it, that it's the only reason I know about any of the governance actions, because I'm getting the notifications basically.
Yep.
And that's true what you said. Even locally, you don't know what's happening unless it's put in front of your face, and then you kind of know about it and decide if you will do something. But really, governance is a tough thing for people to get involved into. It's much more complex than trading NFTs and tokens, and it
Depends
takes
on the token. I have the feeling like there's some project out there that made it very complicated to engage with their ecosystem. So where you could vote with your token and whatever. And I mean, guess where they're now? If they didn't have the communication like methods in place, a lot of these projects weren't able to sustain because people didn't stay engaged.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, great work. And as you said, you always keep building even if you don't get funded, and you develop a beautiful product. Again, you keep developing Vibrant Bot, which is working so seamlessly and silently in background. Everything that you need when you set it up, it's like some magic devil work what you do. And I always admire that about you, because it's like, mm, even if you kind of get disappointed maybe in some of the Catalyst results and stuff, I think that you always get back on your feet and just say, well, I love this too much, I'll just keep developing. And that's it.
Attention, everyone. Just wanted to remind you that our survey, Cardano Pulse, is still ongoing and you should go fill it out. If you're a participant in Cardano ecosystem, whatever your role might be, we want to hear your voice too. Take 7-8 minutes of your time, go on a link in our bio and fill it out. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I also feel like it's not that the people who are participating in Catalyst are like a lot of different people. And again, this speaks a little bit to the how widely varied everything is, right? If I look at the community and the people that I engage with, people like you who use the product, both RYP and Vibrant, and I talk to those individuals, I always have, a lot of positive feedback like, hey, this is valuable for us. And that's the reason why I build it, not, because I get funded or not, but because people say like, hey, this is useful for us. And even for RYP, this is one of the things, and that's that even when you don't get funded, if you hear what people say, I'm like, hey, I voted for you because it keeps you going, just because it means it's not a problem. It's an awareness problem for the most part. And like I said, I'm bad at taking the time to do marketing and to do outreach. I did a little bit more actually for Fund 13, but still it's more an awareness problem because everybody wants your attention in Catalyst. Like when you're as a voter, I voted my first batch yesterday. I have 3 wallets to vote with, and I almost vote like on 80% of the proposals, which means I was sitting there watching The Mandalorian and going through proposals for 2 hours, and you don't have the time to go through them in detail. The reviews are mediocre at best. So really, if you want attention, you have to be like in the awareness level of whoever's voting, and that's the hard part. So that's why I don't see it as a slight against me or the project, as long as I get feedback from people who actually use it that say, hey, this is useful, or from people that say like, oh, I didn't know this exists. This is fantastic. I can, get value out of it. Last round in Fund 12, though we didn't get funded, I actually found out that the Cardano Foundation had voted for our YP because they thought it is worth pursuing with regards to governance. Back then, we didn't even have governance stuff. Like that was just something that we were building. And I think that's, what keeps me going as well, is to see inside the ecosystem people that are serious about certain things. They see the value. And if I can, continue pushing at that. And again, many startups work that way. You can't just like first sign of defeat or somebody like giving you criticism or you're not getting funded, say like, well, okay, the idea wasn't good. Like you have to get at it for a couple of years, I believe, in some cases. And that's kind of how I go about it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we see it ourselves at the moment. Also, it's been a year since we published the results of our big research, and basically from that moment on, we were trying to get funded to do more. And this is the third Catalyst fund that we are applying to. Hopefully, third time is the lucky one, or third time is the charm. And more and more, I see that it's really a lot just about being present, believing in what you're trying to do, and finding some people which really believe in you. And whoever I talk to, it's like, yeah, it's valuable, and it's a good thing that we are trying to do, the research that we are trying to do. It's just, yes, the awareness problem, I guess. And you cannot be so strong to get out like and do only marketing in the proper way in which marketing should be done, to really get the word out as much as it would be needed. It would be great if we could, and of course we try to. This is also one of the reasons why we are speaking today. But yeah, we can do only as much as we can do, and you can do only as much as you can do. But you like the content and the essence of what you do stays of highest quality. And I think yeah, it will get what it deserves in the end, be it funds or be it whatever. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think one of
yeah.
the things we're seeing also is, as we become this decentralized governance solution, that Catalyst will cease to be the only avenue for projects to get funding, right? We've seen this with Intersect, and we see this with the Cardano budget, that there will be more opportunities and maybe more specialized ways to get funding for project. Be that, something more like what you do, which is research based and kind of that part information, or governance infrastructure, etc. And Intersect has done this, with their own budget prior to the Chang upgrade and on-chain governance, where they had proposals out there for like certain problems they needed solved. And I think we will see more of that. I know a couple of like funds or grant programs have emerged already that are not Catalyst, that we will then go to and like look for more targeted support, because then it's easier. Maybe the voting mechanism is, different too. Maybe the type of voters, like Catalyst attracts everybody. But if there were a governance specific voting or grant program, I doubt that the same breadth of people would be voting in that, just because it's not of their interest. And going through 100 proposals and finding, one that has to do with like a trading solution and maybe some arbitrage and whatever, there may be some gotchas and, hey, these I want when you go through Catalyst. But if it's all governance, then you're like, none of this interests me. I'm not gonna vote there. So you'll get a different outcome too. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, agree completely. And that's true. I with the budget in making and everything, there are talks about us maybe being able to do the research work needed for the marketing part of the Intersect, which will need some feedback from people, need some sentiment from people. So that's correct. Maybe there are some other chances also in the space. Good. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, being an SPO for a long time now, How long now is it?
3.5 years, roughly. A long time
3.5.
sounds like a long, like I'm always like, oh, well, I haven't been there when it all started. But then when I think back, the ITN, the testnet that I have not been a part of, was only roughly a year before I started. So I'm of the, what is it now? 4.5 years, or four and some years. I've been 3.5 years in it. So like I always feel like, no, I haven't been there so long. But then when I look at the overall timeline, I'm like, oh, we have been doing this pretty long now.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, and yes, and basically the reason why you built out your product is to help SPOs be more engaged, I would say, with their audience. So would you say that that's one of the biggest obstacles in doing the SPO work successfully, and or what do you find as one of the biggest struggles being an SPO?
Yeah, I mean, both of the products I've started building were mostly started out of a like egoistic, like I need to solve this problem because I have this problem as an SPO.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, it was for Vibrant. It was allowing, verification of delegators in Discord to give them like custom roles and to kind of have an engaged community where the delegators get special treatment. And then the same thing for RYP was we had this survey. The reason why ROIP was born is we had this survey for the K parameter, which is how many stake pools is the ideal number, and for the minimum fee, which used to be 340 ADA every epoch. And for small pools, this was a challenge. And there was a survey that was supported by the Cardano Foundation and I think IOG around, okay, how should we change this? And the stake pool operators were the ones who were voting using the Summon platform, and was all super cool to see this kind of decentralized governance attempt prior to actually having on-chain governance come to life. And I reached out to my delegators using my known challenges at channels, and I got 6 responses out of 250 delegators. And we have a plenty of delegators in the Discord too. So it's not just 6 people there, but getting them to engage and give us like a, feedback and participate in the poll was like really hard. And I didn't take it up on, oh, this was them because they're not interested. It was, I don't think I reached them. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's how RYP, the idea was born. I need to be able to like text you, and you don't have to give me your number for that to work. I just want to be able to reach you so that you know what's going on. Because for them, it was valuable because we voted to reduce the min fee because it was increasing the chances of small pools being selected because they can provide more return on your ADA when you stake. And so there
Mm-hmm.
was something in it for them too, but I couldn't get the word out. And so I think with governance, it's the same thing, and SPOs are supposed to be engaging in governance as well. And I think this outreach is a major problem. Is it the largest problem? I don't think so, but it is a problem, and it will become more of a problem as you kind of create pockets of engaged SPOs that are reaching out to the community, because then you'll see the difference. Now, then when you give them the tools, and a lot of them made their own tools, they made their own Telegram channels and whatever other things to engage with the community, or they have a Twitter following or a YouTube channel, and you can see that works.
Mm-hmm.
But those people that aren't confident making a YouTube channel or doing like Twitter influencing, they should still have a chance. And I think that's one of the solutions that we can bring is with both of these tools is to give them something that they can engage with their stakeholders or with their delegators a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah, great, good. Uh, when you say that you're a DREP but not an active one, uh, what would that mean? You signed up to be a DREP, register yourself
Yeah.
to see how it goes.
Yeah, pretty much. So essentially, and I had announced this before I even started registering as a DREP. This was entirely to be one of the first and just register and see if all the stuff, because I wanted to also test what I've built, right? We've done all this development, and everything happened there on the preview networks or SanchoNet, which is a dedicated network for governance where all of this testing was happening on. And so I wanted to immediately start seeing, if I become a DREP, can people subscribe to me? Can they see my notifications? If I vote, would that all work? Now, we've done all the testing, but it was interesting to see But as it kind of, I posted that I'm the first, which I didn't look at the data well enough to find out I'm actually the second. It was a whole conversation. It was very engaging, but I wanted to make sure that people know, hey, I'm not looking for you to delegate to me. So I've delegated a little bit to myself, but I'm not actually actively participating in governance and voting as a DREP. And so I encourage people to delegate to other DREPs. I myself am delegated to Hosky because I do think that he represents our values pretty good and very outspoken and transparent in what he does. And so I personally encourage people to delegate, but not to me. But I have not unregistered my DREP because if something is relevant that I want to kind of somehow engage, I might still want to have that. So it's really, I don't know. Maybe people will think like, hey, you should just unregister it because people might delegate to you. But the good thing is, if they delegate to me and they have an RYP account, I can tell them, hey, don't delegate to me, so I can reach them.
And is there some kind of ability to put a banner or like a small line below your name there? Like, don't
Yeah,
delegate to
actually,
me.
you can. Yeah, you could. I have not. I have if somebody delegates to me and I see that there is a delegation, I will start participating or message them and then retire. That has not happened. So people don't necessarily delegate to just a random DREP address. But there is metadata. So as a DREP, you can register and you can put in information about yourself. You can set up a profile, and that is all on chain, or the retrieval of the information is on chain. So you could do that, and I could put next to my name, hey, I'm not actively participating. But then the question would be, if you're not actively participating, why do you have a profile in the first place? Right? Then you might as well just deregister. So here I am with my own little delegation to me, and I'll live with that until somebody says, hey, this is a bad thing. You should stop doing it.
Yeah. Well, it's for the purposes of testing, and developers mind have to have all the testing that they need. So why not?
Yep.
Are you otherwise have you been active in any kind of governance activities, attended any constitutional workshops, or maybe going to Buenos Aires or something like that?
I've been pretty active in a lot of the governance activities leading up to the first kind of constitutional workshop. So I've participated in a demo workshop at Rare Evo in Colorado. No, it was Vegas this year. They had a sample constitutional workshop. There was a DREP workshop there. And I've also participated in the constitutional workshop here in the Pacific Northwest. So that's kind of our regional one organized by the P&W folks, and I put myself up for a vote on the delegation, but I just got third place, so I'm not going to Argentina. I would have gone, however, and there's a little bit as fate would have it, as fate would have it situation. I currently couldn't even go to Argentina because we recently became citizens of the US, and as part of doing that, you have to give away your green card, and then there's a period where you don't have your green card and you don't have a passport yet, and so you couldn't travel outside the country without a lot of bureaucratic overhead. So I wouldn't even be able to go. So kind of in the end worked out that we were just making third. And we have two great representatives from the Pacific Northwest that are going to Argentina, or Nairobi. I don't know where they're going nowadays. It's all a bit in the open.
Yeah. How long do you have your green card taken? What's the period?
It's essentially they take it away and you don't get it back, but you get it replaced with your passport, and that's depends on kind of how long they take. It's usually somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks, depending on if you do priority processing or not.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to watch from home what's happening
Yep,
there.
I'll watch from home. I don't think they're live streaming, but I'll be interested to see what happens next week.
Yeah, maybe they should. I don't know.
Now, I'll see. Maybe they come up with something. I mean, people want to be engaged. It's not. I think there was a stream, a constitutional discussion stream last week on YouTube with 10 or 15 I don't know if it was delegates or just people, engaged with governance, or people that had proposed constitutional drafts, because there's a lot of them out there now. And there was a lot of interest by the community. So I do think people want to be engaged, at least at this very early stage. And the more we can provide them with tooling and ways to actually stay engaged, the better chances we have that will all be, successful down the line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's been a lot of talks in the community, and I feel that in the last few weeks, people are getting more and more involved into like actually getting the idea of, yeah, this is happening. The constitution will happen. We have a say in it, basically.
Yep.
It's a new concept. I think for a lot of us, like being able to be involved in something like that, and
Yep.
kind of change the situation a bit in uh, why you are in blockchain in the first place. It kind of comes now to that, last step of what Cardano is supposed to do, and it's exciting. It's exciting.
It definitely takes people a while to get to that. I think, and I think it'll be still a while until people realize, hey, it's different than the normal life that I had, where I couldn't participate in much of this, either because it was, I didn't know about it, or because whatever I said didn't really matter. So there's much more influence that you can exert in blockchain, and it'll be very interesting to see if people like take the shovel and start digging. Because again, I do think a lot of it is about awareness. We still, every time there's a new thing happening, people realize, oh, I didn't know there was this way. And just last week, somebody said, "Oh, did you know that a lot of the delegates didn't know that what they vote on at the delegation convention, at the constitutional convention, isn't necessarily the
The
constitution that
constitution, yeah.
that is happening, but there's another vote after this that is happening on chain where everybody gets their say through their DREPs." That part is completely unaware for a lot of people, because I think that most people thought, okay, there's Argentina, and then after that they come back with a document, and that's our constitution. And it may or may not be. We'll find out, or it may just be another draft that we then continue fine tuning. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, there's no way that people can know everything. So I think there's always like that room of understanding that you can not know everything. And I think this whole process of governance is kind of building a bit more understanding also between each other in space.
Yep.
That's at least what it feels like when I listen to the discussions and everything. It's like everyone feels like we are in this together and we have to make something out of it. So it's kind of nice. Good. I wanted to ask you about, yeah, you mentioned while speaking about richer people, and that one of the problems is that the project has to come there on the website and basically register, and also the customers have to go there and register that they want to get notifications.
Yep.
Do you have any plans, and is it possible to expect that in the future it will not be needed and it will all be integrated in some way somewhere else, just to click what you want to get and it happens automatically, or you will always have to go to your website?
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly the type of problem that we are listening to the people who are using the product. We're listening to the people that are interested in using the product. And this is the type of feedback we got, which we already knew it's not the ideal state, and we want to grow from that. And we had this in the Fund 12 proposal. It's the primary reason we have the Fund 13 proposal is there's two ways that we want to simplify things. And there's much more in the proposal itself because it is a larger undertaking. But the two main things to simplify lives for the end users as well as for projects, they work differently, but are for exactly the purpose that you mentioned. So for end users, we have proposed this a couple of times, and we've already engaged with some wallet creation tools. So we've engaged with like Begin Wallet and the team at Eternal, as well as Vesper, trying to come to a place where from within the wallet, you can easily subscribe to RYP. So instead of having to go to the website, which you may still have to do at some point, because if you want to connect to other social media, I can't expect the wallet providers to build, infrastructure to do all that. The whole point that we have RYP is so that we take that away and they don't have to do the work, because being a wallet provider is actually a pretty thankless job. And so if you don't have a great solution for, how to make money, the more we can take away their load, the easier it is for them to build great products, focus on their actual wallet building. So one of the things we are proposing for Fund 13 is essentially building infrastructure that lets wallet providers connect to and provide all that notification logic without having to do a lot themselves. So that means as a user, I could just say, okay, I want notifications for my wallet, right? It could just be as simple as a checkbox that says yes. And if they turn on notifications, then we provide the infrastructure for wallet providers to just hook in. And then if a project has some announcement, or if something happens on chain the same way you would now manually do it as a project, the on-chain stuff already happens in the background. You don't have to do anything. It just, like, the notification just comes because we have built the infrastructure to listen to the chain and see what happens and then announce accordingly. But that way you can tie that into the wallets directly. So if you have a Vesper wallet, now you can get a push notification on your phone, and it'll tell you exactly what everybody else gets who's using RYP. If you get it through Discord, if you get it through the wallet now, if you get it on a browser notification, it doesn't matter. It's all the same, and there's a consistent experience. So you could even say, oh, I have an RYP account now. I didn't know, but actually I'm getting too many notifications about this project on my wallet. I actually want to focus on my stake pool only, and maybe governance and my transactions. But I don't care about like Hosky announcements on there. So you can then go to RYP, you already have an account, you log in with your wallet, and now you just say, okay, I'm going to connect my Discord and I'm going to reroute these messages to Discord. So that makes it simpler for the end user. They don't have to register actively. The wallet providers have less work. And we just leverage what we've already started to make it much easier for people to get onboarded. So that way you don't have to have, sign up for another service to get the value. And that's the end user perspective that we're looking to improve. We have some concrete plans there already, looked at some like technologies that we can leverage that is in use, for example, for push notifications on your mobile phones to build exactly that. And then wallet providers just get a token that they identify themselves with, and then they can use our infrastructure to kind of provide that service. So that means when we're done, it's not necessarily the whole thing done, but one of the milestones is to actually have at least one provider, one wallet offering that's kind of integrating with us. And we've definitely seen some interest there because, again, it simplifies their lives. So that's the end user side.
Just a quick break to invite you to go check our proposals in Catalyst voting app. If you type in the name Thesis, you will find all 3 of our proposals. One proposal is tightly connected to the research that we are also currently doing, called CARDANO PULSE, the research of Cardano ecosystem. And your vote will help us to continue doing that in the future. The other proposal is dealing with the question of how to bring scientific and academic world to Cardano, in a sense of creating an academic journal system. And the third proposal is hosting an event of very interesting character, merging the Web2 and Web3 communities here in Croatia. Thank you.
On the project side, what most projects want is they just want to publish in whatever their main channel is, and then they just want it to go out. So what is the main channel for? Like, where do you go to write a larger announcement? Like, do you do that on Twitter? Do you do that on Discord? Like, where's your start, your source?
Discord, probably.
Yeah. So one of the things that we have on the roadmap is essentially for automatic collection of announcements. So what that means is, depending on what you're setting up for your project as your main channel, you connect your Discord server, for example. That could happen using the Vibrant bot. If it's on Twitter, you can connect it, using your Twitter account. Doesn't really matter. We just need to know what's your source of announcements. And then we can provide tooling for you to hook into that. So for Discord, it's really simple. You just invite the bot. And if you announce something in your announcement channel, we can take that message and we can now, relay it to everybody. We can even point back. So that way, the only thing you have to do is do what you're already doing. You announce a message in Discord, in your channel, And then we take that and say, okay, well, let's send this out. And then it'll go out as a text message to the people who say, I want text messages. It'll go out as a Telegram message to the people who want to do Telegram. So all of that happens, and the projects don't have to do additional work if they don't need like customized announcements for the different channels. And that will simplify things a lot because now you don't have to go through another website. That just happens in the background. And we essentially just pick up wherever your primary announcement channel is, or you can do an API integration with us. And something like TweetDeck, I know there's a bunch of tools out there where you could publish to multiple social media at once. And so that will also make things a lot easier on the project side, because now you don't have to worry about this anymore. You just send out your announcement the same way you've always done, and your people will be informed if they're in Discord or not. It doesn't matter anymore. So those are two of the primary ways we want to simplify things in Fund 13 with our proposal. There's a bunch of other stuff there that has nothing to do with that, but this is, I think, one of the primary drivers for kind of making it easier for everybody to use.
And yes, it would be great if this tool could like collect everything from your life which you actually care about and give you notifications about it, like clean the emails that you're getting, clean out like I don't know, whatever's happening in your social circles and just choose those which matter the most. There's so much, too much of notifications each day from like everywhere.
That, funny enough, that's one of the things that it was the gentleman that brought this up first, and I can't imagine why I haven't come up with it. Because it was so obvious, but it was a great idea. Bagboy from the Cardania team, he was one of the first beta testers, and one of the things he said is like, well, that's all good and well, but what I would really like is if I get just one email a day with all the notifications, right? I want a digest. I want a newsletter. And in fact, that is another one of our milestones for the RYP 13 proposal, for the Fund 13 proposal, which is, okay, I would go out there. I'm getting a message on-chain governance. There's a new proposal. I want to send it to Matea. Oh, Matea said she only wants one message a day. Okay, we'll put it by the side here, and we'll wait until the day goes over. And any message that comes in, we will just put into this bucket. And then whatever time you choose, you get one notification that says, and here's everything that happened today, right? Now, we can't solve world hunger. Like, you had a lot of stuff in there that you want simplified. And we want to still focus on the Cardano community, or at least say in the blockchain sector. But generally, that's the idea, right? Is to make it so that people aren't overwhelmed with information. They have full control over who gets what, and they can easily opt out of things too, right? We don't want to create something where like we gain value just because you subscribe to everything, but instead it should really be about, and that's the other thing that RYP as the prototype was to showcase is, let's say you have an NFT and you get notifications about it. If you sell that NFT, those notifications will stop unless you've explicitly asked to always get them. So now you essentially, what's in your wallet defines what is relevant to you. And if something is no longer relevant to you, you'll probably sell it, send it somewhere into a trash wallet, or do something else with it. Give it to a friend and say like, hey, you should really look at this. So you have control over that without having to go now to my website and say, I want this anymore. So there's another kind of value proposition that can only be done with blockchain, really, because your wallet kind of identifies what is relevant to you in a way.
And that's all in your Fund 13 proposal?
That part's already in there, but the like, if you delegate to a stake pool and you change stake pools, you will get notifications from your new stake pool. That already happens all fully automatically. The only part that I was talking about that's in the Fund 13 proposal that isn't there yet, aside from like the simplification of for users and end users and projects, is the digest, right? Okay, I just want one notification, because right now, if there's 3 proposals that come up in a day and your DREP votes on one of them, you would get 4 notifications, 4 emails, 4 text messages. And as the ecosystem grows, that's just too much for most people. And they're okay with not getting the information instantly. And we will even make it so, as part of the proposal, that you can choose, right? If my stake pool retires, I want to know that immediately. I don't want that as like a here, 1 week later you get an email like, and here's what happened last week, and then it's like, oh, it's already one epoch. I already missed 2 epochs of my stake pool having retired. So that one you may want immediate information, or when your DREP votes, because you want to tell them, hey, I don't like this, and I'll change my delegation. But for other things like project news, that's fine doing it once a day, once a week. So being able to again choose and kind of pick and choose how you would like your notifications kind of sorted into buckets, that's part of the proposal.
How can I bet on you? Do you have a token which I can buy?
Yeah, that's the thing. We've so far successfully avoided any that. It was a discussion actually for a long time, just because it seemed to be what everybody was doing, but we really like dug a little bit into kind of what does it mean, even like NFTs or something like that, to kind of support ourselves. And turns out there's just too much involved to on the legal side to make that happen, safely. And also you kind of take away from what the value of the project is. Now, all of a sudden, it's interesting because it has a token and not because, oh, this is really useful. And going that bridge between having a useful token and having a useful product versus, okay, this token does nothing and it's mostly speculative and people get disappointed, and then you lose trust, not because your product's bad, but because your token doesn't do what they would hope for. And so we're staying away from that. If you want to bet on us, vote in Catalyst, see us grow. Let us, we'll make a company. We'll go public one day, 5-10 years from now, we'll go public, and then you can bet on us by buying the stock or something like that. Like that is possible. But anything else, I don't know yet if there's really an opportunity.
Yeah, because everything that you're speaking about and how it's evolving, it really sounds useful, and like I would need it in my life for blockchain purposes. But I think in future we are safe to say that it will be developing, maybe not your product exactly, but something like that, maybe your product exactly, into something that could be really, getting our mind space a little bit of rest and just putting the important stuff in front of us. I think it's like we are all overwhelmed with too much information, and the thing that you spoke about now is really useful for that regards. And yeah, I read your tweet about just commenting that I'll buy your token when I need it for something, or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
when it has utility.
When it has utility, yeah. So, and now you explained it perfectly one more time, what you think about it, and I agree completely. I mean, if you can do it this way, in which you are doing it, in which you were doing it till now, then kudos to that, and just keep pushing. And I think it speaks for itself, basically.
Yeah, it's a trade-off that's really, really tricky. And so I've gotten some good advice from some projects that have launched a token, and essentially they would come to you and say, like, I know you're trying, like, I would like, so how was it? And they were like, terrible, don't do it. So it's like, okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. Well, good. I don't have any more specific questions. I really enjoyed hearing from you again, and have to go do my due diligence of voting and checking what's up there in the voting app.
Yep.
Surely check your proposal out. And yeah, I hope this podcast helps you get a few more votes.
Fingers crossed. So like I'm in the middle of voting. I think I voted in the Cardano developer category so far. I think you had mentioned that you guys have a proposal out there in this fund. This is your third fund you're trying to get. If I wanted to vote for you, how would I find it? Would I just search for Thesis, and what is it about? Because I still have to go through all the other categories and I don't want to miss it.
Yeah, it's you would find it by typing thesis, yeah. And we have 3 proposals. So the one which we are posting for the 3rd time is Cardano Pulse, the research one, like in which one we want to continue with the research, do some big survey again, publish it all on the website, and everything that we did already, but do it one more time in bit, I would say, a larger scope. Then we have the other one, which we are doing together with CSWAP team, with John from CSWAP, in which we want to do research about like a concept of decentralized academic journal on Cardano and see what has been done on other blockchains and tried and why maybe it has failed, and see if Cardano is a good place to think about something like that. I believe that in future science at some point will have to come to blockchain, and I'm not a technical one, but Cardano always seems like in love with science and peer reviews and stuff like that. So I'm assuming it would be good for science to spend some time on Cardano. And yeah, we have the 3rd one, which is we planned an event here in Croatia, and basically want to get funds for that one. It's going to be like a merge of Web 2 and Web 3 audiences using a Cardano Beam app. I don't know if you heard of that one. It's
Yes, I did.
Yeah, guys have created an app in which you can put an asset on map basically and go around the city and search for it. And with that, we want to create a city challenge where people will come, use the app, go around the city, find something, take the NFT, then come back to the venue, meet all the different Cardano projects, some speakers and stuff like that. So we want to get some people involved who potentially are not there for crypto and blockchain, but they just want to do the city challenge and it's interesting to them, but they will end up using Cardano app. So kind of
it's
onboarding
like
them.
a blockchain enabled geocaching, which was really cool again because it shows also like some of the use cases that you can use it for where you don't know that it's happening, but you've used it, and then after saying like, well, look what you just used. You didn't know it, but here's kind of how this technology can be used. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to participate in that. I have not been to Croatia, so I would love to come over to Europe and get involved in that.
Well, you're
So
invited.
if it's happening, I'll see. I don't think you guys like because it's not funded yet. You don't have a time frame where you would be doing it yet, or you have
Well,
already an idea.
probably during the warmer months. I don't know, after between June and September. Yeah, summer
Okay.
basically.
Yeah, summer is a good time to come down there for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So we hope we get funded. I like those stuff. It's something I like organizing interesting games and like a whole day of games for something that I work in real life. Let's call it like that. And this would be just like extension of it, getting it out to the blockchain community too.
Yeah, I think I mean, we hear this frequently, right? That the challenge for some of the Cardano ecosystem is that they're like kind of isolated away and like they're pushing a lot of like different blockchains and other communities away just because we've been burned or whatever. But in the end, one of the lacking things I think is that there isn't enough outreach to like engage with people that aren't already there. So really getting new people into Cardano or into blockchain, right? Even that is a win. And so I think I've seen a lot of like good events that were done throughout the last years, not just like the big conferences, but like small meetups and hackathons that I think are creating that awareness. And I think right now with how the attention is on Bitcoin's going up again. I think it's the perfect opportunity to bring in more people to showcase like, hey, this is what it can do, and not just, oh, number go up, but like here's some cool stuff, be that research based, like blockchain integrations or NFT treasure hunts. All of that sounds really cool.
Yes. Well, thank you for presenting our proposal.
Yeah, like I said, I have to. It's probably in the Cardano Open category, so that's probably the one that I'll be going through next. I'm still hoping that the Cardano Catalyst team improves the ability to vote with multiple wallets, because right now I have to do all that 3 times. It's like, but I have 2 weeks, so it should be
Yeah,
doable.
I remember that once you have lost your whole selection, right? And
Yeah,
then you, yeah,
that's gone.
yeah.
That's I think it was Fun 10 or something like that, where it's like 2 hours of like typing in what I'm going to vote for, and then it's like, sorry, we couldn't submit the vote. Do it again. I'm like, are you kidding? But yeah, well,
Yeah.
everything got better. So I'm sure that the last hurdles and web-based voting, I think, is also around the corner at some point. So I don't have to do it on my phone with, my fat fingers on the small phone screen. That'll all come eventually. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Niels, one more time. We will stay in touch and talk soon again. And have a nice day. Say hello to your cats.
All right, oh, we'll get some new ones. Do you have a cat over there?
Yeah, yeah. He's just
Going around saying like,
coming.
hey,
Yeah.
yeah,
Here.
hello.
Hello. Hello.
And he's like, I don't want to see this guy. Just cuddle me, please, or feed me, or play with me. All right, Matea. Well, it was
Yeah.
great talking to you, and I look forward to kind of seeing your proposals, and I will probably vote for them. And if that's the case, then it's pretty much assured that they're going to go through.
Yeah.
I'll just
Thank you very much.
All right.
Niels
Have a
the
good
whale.
one. I wish. Bye.
Bye bye.